Hello and welcome to D&D with High School Students Season 3. We are here, resuming where we left off. The party successfully defending the hilltop. Tony, move you and Hank up to the hilltop. Sam, move you up to the hilltop.
Bill, before we started, me and Sam had a question about the match last round that we wanted resolved.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Who had the better coitus performance?
time.
As you
know,
remember, she had
with your highness, the
with the highness
amazing
and me with the shield maiden.
dragonborn.
Keep in mind that I rolled like a 30.
She's like a jacked.
The shield maiden used you.
Oh, dang.
How do I say this? The shield maiden has a very simple philosophy. She used you, she abused you, and then she losed you. In that order: use, abuse, lose.
I won!
Whereas, I mean, Sam did things with basically a king who is swole and has.
Right, but I'm talking about who had the better performance.
She had a swole girl.
Who had the better performance, Bill? I don't care about
Sam.
the long. What?
She has a higher acrobatics roll. I mean, it's.
I
That's literally
told you!
what she told me
I
earlier. I'm like,
told
that's
you!
so dumb.
My
Yeah.
strength and flexibility and my acrobatics, that's just gonna get me all the way.
Oh, by the way, everybody, this is Beth. She's joining us. Imagine your first time at D&D, just being a discussion about whose character had better sex. Welcome, Beth.
Welcome!
Not awkward at all.
Well,
All right, so where we are picking up, my friends, is it is nighttime. And you guys successfully defended the princess and the rest of the peoples from an onslaught of zombies and skeletons that seemingly came from the west. You remember that you spotted far across the plains over by where that abandoned village was. You spotted like these weird little blinking lights. And then
Oh, yeah.
as they got closer, you realized that these were flashes of purple emanating from the zombies and the skeletons' eyes, like periodically just popping up. So you guys just totally defeated this onslaught, right?
We get there.
And did somebody cast a light cantrip? Was it you that cast light cantrip or someone?
I have a light cantrip, but I don't remember casting it.
That might have been.
Maybe, did he do fairy fire?
I remember trying to roll fairy fire at some point and then
So-
like not.
So, but you did have like perimeter torches and
no,
stuff.
you know
remember?
what? It was me because they were like going in like a circle around me or something, weren't they?
Yeah.
And didn't that provide some sort of light or something?
Yeah. Well, that's another important thing that each one of you guys in this encounter discovered
Oh
something
no, I was playing
interesting.
the instrument and that was what was giving it light.
So, yes, Sam, do you remember what happened with your special weapon?
My
Your-
rapier, it
your
would...
jeweled
It would,
rapier?
like, glow, it would glow yellow.
Yes.
Like an orangish
Like
kind
a
of yellow.
golden yellow. Every time you scored a successful hit, there was a bright light, and several times it repelled the undead, like it pushed them back.
Yeah.
And Beecher, do you remember what happened with your particular gift?
Yeah.
And what
Mine
was that?
Sick. I took control of the zombies
Yes.
when I killed one of them,
Yes.
and then
And Tony, do you remember what happened with your? Remember specifically
Yeah,
the kind
I
of
was-
song that you were playing?
Right, I was playing like an angry song. I think it was what you said. It was like, I don't know, it was like warish and intimidating. And they were just walking around me, dude. I was like a little 2-foot dude out there playing music, and
Yeah,
they were
you-
going around me.
Yeah, you created like a
cowards,
wedge,
dude.
and they
It
just
was
they
miraculous.
They went around. They could not
Yeah.
come through your invisible power of your
And
music.
well, even when I kind of like stopped, even when like I stopped playing to like go fight, like we still had like kind of like a little bit of a circle,
That's right.
and I only had to play for like little bits of time.
Now you may recall when we left off, there was an eerie silence after the battle. The sounds of battle died away. The one thing breaking the silence was the tortured screams and cries of agony of Princess Sharisa from her wagon. She's crying out in pain, right? You guys remember that? And like the attendants went to the wagon to like, so that's where we're picking up. So she's like screaming and she's like, no, make it stop. Ah. And you just hear her like screams, and like the attendants are kind of panicked. The shield maidens are like looking around to make sure there's no more zombies. What do you guys
Can I see if Olin's thing is still glowing?
Is it still glowing?
Yeah.
Okay, turn it off. Turn it off, dude, because I think that might be what's hurting the princess, since it has some sort of connection with the zombies.
Can I just turn it?
Do you remember the zombies did you keep some of the zombies on retainer?
Oh,
did you
I'm
squash
gonna,
them?
I'm gonna murder them too.
Okay. You kill the zombies that remain. You're about to kill the last zombie, and instead of engaging you, it turns and it starts going towards this way, like kind of back where it came from. Almost like something else is attracting its attention. Do you kill it, or what do you do?
I'm gonna put Jaquan on its shoulder.
Okay, Jaquan like goes and basically sits on its shoulder. It doesn't even bother Jaquan.
And then I'm gonna let it go.
Okay. It walks off into the distance about 60 feet, and Jaquan's like, Master, someone approaches. Heading towards us now. Heading towards the zombie.
Is it a threat? Hostile?
It is someone known to you, Master.
What? Dude, it's
Go
it's
invisible.
the wizard. Dude, I
Go
swear to God,
invisible
it's the
and
wizard.
sit there.
All right.
Oh, no. Oh. That would make more sense. Sorry.
In the
I really
distance,
wanted to be the wizard.
you hear
Okay.
a swift, like the sound of something being chopped in half. And Jaquan's like, Master, the zombie is dead. She has slain it.
Who is it?
It is the tiefling.
I'm
The
gonna
one you
say-
knew as Mantra.
I'm gonna say to us, I'm gonna go, Mantra's back in town.
So as you run over there,
Whoa!
I'm gonna burst
You-
of speed to her and get up in her face and be like, so where
you
been?
So you go back. You're like, you hear him saying this, right? And you see Mantra like walking up and like wiping old coagulated zombie blood like off of her blade with like a cloth.
I thought you were gonna say it with her hand. It's like,
She
damn.
licks it off. No, just kidding. So you see the Catwoman, the Tabahi, who you remember her name was Allure, and you know that she was traveling with them. She like runs over to you in a unreal fast speed, like where you're like, is she gonna attack me? So you kind of like stop and wait. You see it is Mantra. As you get closer, you see it's Mantra. She basically looks the same. What do
I
you
just
do?
want to say, so where have you been?
Am I allowed to say?
Mhm.
Where was I?
You,
I was in
the capital city.
the capital city, and then I was looking for you guys, and then I was in I was walking through like a town, and it was abandoned, and there were like zombies and skeletons and stuff, and then I was looking for where they came from, and it was a cemetery, and then I saw your campfire, and I started walking towards you guys, and then once I got here, you guys were in battle.
So they came from a cemetery, which means
So
did they
do
not
you guys
come
continue
from the...
walking up to the?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll walk
So you
up,
guys, in fact,
guess.
see Mantra.
So yes, down here. I'm leaving
And Allure
Hank
walking.
upstairs.
An odd thing happens. You don't have to roll for this because you notice it pretty immediately. The princess stops screaming and screeching in pain.
Can I see if Beecher's thing is still glowing?
It's not going.
Whoopsie daisy. I look at Owen and say, with mild sarcasm, whoopsie daisy.
Make a. I'll let you guys make a
Wisdom?
intelligence check. Because that's probably the lower of your rolls. That'll be entertaining.
I missed the dice cup, dude.
Yeah.
I really missed the dice cup. What is it? Wisdom?
How are those wizards of the ghost dice treating you?
I'm feeling really smart right now with a fat natty 1.
All right.
I have a 9, but I don't know what my
Intelligence.
You
right?
go ahead and roll 2.
Oh, hey.
I have investigation, intimidation. Where's my wisdom?
11.
Wisdom is 0.
Okay.
Great.
So you kind of remember, like, as they're talking about his weapon
Plus
not glowing anymore, and Cademan's like, see, it was your weapon. You're like, no, she was screaming before his weapon ever started glowing.
Yeah. Stop.
You don't feel like there's a connection.
Because of the
But-
zombies.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but she's quiet now. So
That's all
Mantra's
that
here. One of the captains comes up, seeing Mantra, and he's like, who is that? And he's kind of like got his hand near his weapon.
Old friend.
Unreliable friend.
Really?
Sorry, that was cold.
So
Welcome.
you guys were remarking on what she said about the cemetery. Because you didn't see a cemetery.
We
so
saw a
continue.
town. So you walked through an abandoned town, you said.
The one to the west of here.
We walked through an abandoned town, one from the west of here, but we couldn't find any cemetery, and we couldn't find any trace of how the people had died. It kind of just looked like the bodies had just been gone.
At which time you could say there's a forest to the west of that town,
Yeah.
and past that forest is a
I
cemetery.
went through the forest, and that's how I found the cemetery.
Well, then where did all those people go? Gosh darn it.
Cemetery.
Yeah, but like, that town was like a town, like not long ago. Like we had like reservations, like at an inn in that town. So for an entire cemetery to be built, put up, and bury these people while just picking them off the ground, like who's doing that? Was it more zombies? Did they make a cemetery? Because they weren't the most, sharpest
You-
tools in the shed. You know what I mean?
You
Like,
saw the cemetery and it looked old, like it had been there for a really long time.
Yeah, which is
There were
just
like, you
misses
said
it.
crypts and...
Yeah. Almost like the
graves.
forest grew up around it and people had forgotten it was there. But it looked very old.
that's
Was it big?
Kind of big, like almost the same size as the town.
Okay.
what? That's so weird.
Evil necromancer killed all the people in the town, brought them to the cemetery. Zombies.
Yeah,
That
but
is-
like if it looks old,
Boom.
Totally be false.
That's total.
So, what do you guys do?
I'm.
The captain
What
is.
time is it?
Captain's. Well, it's the middle of the night. It's like 2
Well,
in the morning.
okay, I want to ask a question to Mantra. Like, why were you in the capital city?
Because...
how'd you? Yeah, you split off from us with the dragon.
Rayloff.
Right.
Which
oh
is
yeah.
true. That's so you could say basically that
That's right. It was all
that you were working with Rayloff to investigate something for His Holiness.
that.
What were
Okay.
you
You-
You
investigating?
can roll insight if you don't
Yeah,
believe
what were
her.
you investigating?
Let's see if you would.
Did you sleep with him?
I don't know.
So
I know we're
Beth
asking you,
actually
like,
Beth
questions.
actually doesn't know this. So I'm rolling to see if her character would have figured out. Yeah. Okay.
I don't.
So you were sent with Rayloff on behalf of His Holiness to find a specific gem.
Okay.
And you were sent to find a gem that was missing.
What?
You guys didn't find it. Your religion check tells you that this would have been an elemental crystal of fire,
Wait a minute.
but you guys didn't find it.
Yomi. Dude, maybe Yomi was telling the truth then. Because he was talking about getting hired by one of the Emperor's guards. And then the Emperor was like, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, but Yomi stole the gem.
Right. And brought it where?
I don't know. We don't know.
I know we don't know, but I'm just saying that sheds a lot of light that the Emperor hasn't been telling us everything.
Now, if you guys want, you can make an insight check to see if
I do
she's
make
telling
an
the
inside
truth.
check, but I also do mention that to my party.
I don't know.
13
Plus 1, 14.
She seems to be telling the truth.
I think
Well,
she's telling
even-
the truth.
Even then, guys, I mean, we... I don't know. It seems like the Emperor hasn't told us everything. So the Emperor himself hired you, or did one of his guards?
His Holiness himself.
Himself. Did you tell anybody about the mission? Other than us
Only
right now?
you and Rayloff were on this mission.
Did he mention anybody else was given the same assignment?
No. You have
Where's
to repeat
Rayloff?
everything I say. No.
Where's Raylaw?
He's in the capital.
Why aren't you with him?
Because the mission was over and you guys like basically reported back and there was nothing you could do. You guys couldn't find the crystal.
Yeah, so I came on for you guys.
Cool.
Fun.
I say coldly.
I'm gonna
Sorry.
go talk
I don't want that.
to the guards and see what.
Remember that Mantra was
Friend of Yomi's.
yes. When you guys met, Mantra was a friend of Yomi. But at no point did she mention anything about
What
I
happened to
believe her.
Yomi?
I'm not really suspicious about her. I'm suspicious about...
Yeah, I want to know what happened to him.
you have no idea what happened to Yomi. When you
Sam.
went to the hotel that night, like you were expecting to wake up
Call
in the
your
morning
man.
and see all of them and
I got
Yomi.
one.
And Yomi wasn't there and they had already left.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, thank you. I think I'm concerned about the Emperor, and this troubles me. Is the captain standing nearby? Has he heard me say all this?
Well, after you guys introduced her as like an old friend, he kind of walked back and like started checking in with the other
Okay.
guards. He's basically having them set up more of a perimeter. So they're going out away from the hill, like 30 feet in each direction, and setting up torches on the ground just to give like a little more light, because a lot of them are human, so they can't see in the dark like you guys can.
So, I say out loud to the party, should we consult the captain on this, do you think? Or do you believe that'd be unwise?
Well, I don't really think that
I don't think it's
matters
necessary.
to the mission right now. The mission is to get the princess to Kadim.
I don't know. I'm just saying, they all acted like very confused when talking about the fire gem in that meeting. And they all acted like we were like, oh, we haven't even heard of one as far as we're concerned with the fire. But at the same time, Yomi said he was hired by the Empire to go search for that gem, right? And then retrieved it for some, were you offered a big bounty?
Or was I offered a bounty?
You were offered to be rewarded
Okay.
if you found it.
If
Well,
I
And you were still given gold, but nothing beyond
Seems kind of what Yomi was talking about. And that was the part that we decided he was telling the truth about something, remember? And that was part of the truth, which makes me very skeptical of the Emperor right now. And that whole area.
Sam,
Like, they're
how
not
do you
telling
feel?
us something,
How
but...
how do you feel about His Holiness?
Yeah, where's your man at right now?
I'm not gonna talk bad about my boo.
All right. So what do you guys do? Because it's 2 in the morning.
6 was worse.
Do you want to stay here and try to hold down the hill and go back kind of into taking watches?
I want to just practice with my scythe.
Yeah, I want to see if I can do like any more stuff with my rapier and just
Okay.
like start practicing with it.
Okay.
I want to see if I can get my scythe to glow again.
No, I'm gonna practice gymnastics.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's 2 in the morning and you're all tired. Now, normally in Dungeons and Dragons, if you don't get enough rest, you suffer exhaustion, which is
I
a
go to
great
sleep.
penalty to
I'm
you.
gonna go to bed.
Fine, I'm
I
gonna
go
go
to
to bed.
sleep.
You're tired too, because you've been traveling all night.
I'll go to
Okay.
sleep.
Good night.
So you guys basically camp out. Nothing bad happens for the rest of the night. You wake up in the morning. The attendants are you snuggling up with your ham?
I'm spooning Hank.
Everybody's spooning. All right. So you wake up in the
Knocks
morning.
me off.
They have breakfast, like the
Falls
attendants
on
to the
Hank.
princess. They have a fire going. There's breakfast. You guys all eat. Everybody packs up their stuff.
Oh.
And then
Do we let her back into the pile?
at this point, the
Boys.
captain goes over to you and he's like, "So,
Just like rest.
do we?"
Looks at all of us.
He's like, "So, do we head northwest and just avoid that abandon town altogether and keep heading towards the monastery, or what should
We
we
need
do?
to figure out what's wrong with the princess, and I don't want to risk going around more zombies. Well, she's still at risk.
The sooner we get to
Kadim Kikala, I agree.
Kadimki,
The
better.
fastest way we can get to Kadim Kikala.
Okay, then let's pack up and get going.
All right.
Alright.
So you guys basically pack up, like the wagons are packed, and you hit the road. Okay, and you're making great speed. You pass like far beyond that town or the village, and you remember that was kind of like the last outpost in the stretch of open land before you get to the monastery. Okay, so you guys are traveling along. Things are going pretty well. A few hours go by. It's late morning, probably around noon, and you guys come across a small like creek where there's some trees and some shade. So everybody kind of pulls over. People get food, bathroom break, water for the horses, that kind of stuff, right? Just a short like lunch break. At which point you see from the princess's wagon, like the curtains emerge, and she kind of peeks her head out. She looks very pale, kind of peaked, exhausted, like bags under her eyes, and she's a dragonborn, so it's not quite like human equivalent, but like she seems very
Out of it.
drained. But you notice that in this break she pops her head out and she's like, is there a river close by? I'm so thirsty. And her handmaidens are like, yes, princess, we will help you. They like help her down. She gets out and they like kind of escort her, like literally like carrying her by her arms, and she kind of makes her way slowly to the river.
I asked the captain to accompany them, just to make sure everything's okay.
Of course. So they are going out there, and they kind of like set up like a little picnic spot kind of near the river. So she kind of like lays down on a blanket and some pillows, and they have like soup for her, and there's like 5 guards all around her. So you guys are kind of off closer to the wagons, and then the princess and her like cadre are closer to the river. So anybody need to do anything or want to do anything?
You know what? I'm actually just gonna keep catching up on sleep. I'll take the sleep where I can, because I have a feeling that if we run into combat, we're gonna need that. Especially since we woke up at 2 and fought zombies for like an hour. Actually, it was a lot less than that. Wasn't it quick?
Mm-hmm. It was pretty quick.
It's like, what, half hour maybe?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
set.
So, but still, fighting zombies. 2 to 2:30. Then we had to say hi to Mantra. That's 2:45 at least. 3 o'clock by the time I started spooning Hank. Yeah. So.
It was pretty.
I'm gonna
yeah,
catch. I'm gonna catch up on sleep.
It's not like you could just go to sleep after an epic.
Right. So I'm
encounter.
gonna catch
You
up
had
on
to
some
wind
extra
down.
sleep.
When I
I kind of just
started
walk over by one of
spooning.
the
3:15
go,
is
like,
when I joined in.
Pitch a blanket by the river by them, or do you stay closer to the
2:30 is when I
wagons?
joined in.
I take. This is what I do. I take the cool guitar. What is it? A mandolin.
Mm-hmm.
I take the mandolin. Walk over by the river. I'm just like, I'm just gonna take it's peaceful out here. I'm just gonna kind of play for a little bit and take a nap, just because I want to stay. I want to make the shield maiden jealous because I want her to realize what she's missing out
Yeah.
on. That I'm not just about the physical side. That I want something more, and that I'm not intimidated by the fact that she's strong. I actually find it very attractive.
He's intimidated.
But I
He's
want her to get
intimidated.
jealous first.
He's
I want her
scared.
to
He's
suffer
scared
a
because
little
he
bit.
knows he's the beta.
Right.
You-
I do know that, but I'm not scared.
You
I'm willing
find
to
like
accept
the
that.
perfect niche, like right at the base of a tree.
And I'm just,
There's some moss. It's super comfortable. You're like used to this kind of jam.
I just kind
What
of
kind of
play
music do you play?
Seductive.
flamenco. I play flamenco gypsy scales
Okay.
on my mandolin. It
Nothing
just-
too intense, like a slower.
yeah, just something like
Go
a
ahead and
little
make
melody.
a performance roll. Let's
God,
see.
wouldn't it
Let's see how
suck
you
if
do.
if this was the first bad performance I had
Let's
with
see
this?
it. You have like +7 on performance, so you can do.
Oh my God! Another
22.
22.
Without you like briefly tune, and then you just begin like strumming, and like your technique is impeccable. You're very relaxed and comfort. You kind of get into the zone, and you notice that like the princess actually like perks up and she looks over and smiles at you, and she's like, "Yes."
And then she'll talk about it with the shield maidens
Keep playing.
later because they're friends.
So the shield maiden that you know, she does not seem distracted. Like she's not looking at you.
Okay, well, she's acting like she's not distracted.
Make a perception roll.
Can I do an insight on this scene?
Yes.
Can I too?
Yes. You too, Beth.
7.
6.
No!
Perception is +1. I got an 8.
I got a 7.
So you would add your perception, or insight,
Yeah. So
to what you rolled.
6.
Yeah, so that'd be nice.
So all of us are pretty clueless.
So all of you guys just seem, like you notice that this interaction is playing out, and you kind of like look at the shield maidens, and they don't seem to really be distracted by his rather perfect playing. You are over by the wagons, and really nobody is by the princess's wagon. And you could kind of see the flaps are open, and you see that there's like pillows and blankets and stuff, but you also see like some of her personal effects. There's like a nice little like candle thing with like a
She rolled
glass
21.
thing on there so that she can have like some light at nighttime. And you notice like a couple books and some other things in there.
So can I snoop?
Yeah, you could. Make a stealth roll.
Uh-oh.
2.
Oh, no.
You basically just climb up into the wagon. Now I have to make a roll to see how many people, if any, notice you. Wow. All right, you climb up into the wagon, and you like look closer. You notice that she has like a small, like a chest, like a travel dresser, basically. And it's got, like you can lift off, it's not even locked, like kind of lift it up. You notice there's like clothes and different kinds of clothing items in there. And it's got one of those top trays that kind of sit in the top of the chest on one side. And there's like little like makeup things and some jewelry in there. Make a investigation roll. Wow. So add your investigation bonus to that.
21.
21.
Or
You-
22.
22. You notice that there's something solid looking underneath where this tray. So like here's the chest, right? Here's the tray on one corner of it. There's something solid that's like covered by like a silk blouse. But it's definitely something solid and squarish looking underneath this.
What can I do?
What would you want to do?
Look at it. I wanna
Okay,
see what it
so
is.
you like slide the thing over and pull the blouse aside, and you see what looks like a metal box, like about yay big, square. It's a gray, dull gray kind of metal, almost like with a little bit of a greenish tint to it. The odd thing about the box is that you don't see like a top to it. You don't see like a way to open it. There's no like keyhole. There's no like lines. It's literally like a cube of metal. But when you pick it up, it doesn't weigh that much. So it feels like it's hollow.
Can you shake it?
You do.
Is there anything in it?
You hear a sound. It's not unlike this kind of a sound. When you shake it. That's kind of the sound that you hear. Something's in there.
Okay.
Do I meta know what this is?
No.
No, like Beecher as in Grimble, as in.
Oh, yeah.
Is it, okay.
Yes. Okay, so what do you do?
There's no way to open it.
Do you want to try to figure it out? Make another investigation roll.
Can I roll insight on her in there?
You just saw her go into the wagon. You can't see what she's doing in there. If you want to go sneak in there, you can.
So I'm at
I want
9.
to go sneak and see what she's
All right,
doing.
you roll stealth first.
Wait, make an invest. Can I see? Did I see her go into the wagon?
No, you're like over by the river.
I just wanted to-
23.
Yeah.
23.
Yeah.
And then what's
Right.
after stuff?
So you're like, box, how do I open it? And you're like literally right over her shoulder.
Can
You-
I ask her for help?
You don't know I'm there.
You don't know if
okay,
she's there.
okay.
So you see she's holding this like metal box and she's like click, 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 and like,
Can I roll insight on the box?
sure,
No, Alora wouldn't know about it. I have a feeling.
it's not insight. It would be. I'll let
History?
you. Let me see your character sheet. I'll let you make a roll, and I'll tell you if you succeed or not. Okay, go ahead and make a roll. You have no idea what it is. You're like, weird, metal box, doesn't seem to have any hinges. Do you want to make a roll?
What can I?
Make a roll and I'll tell you if you succeed.
16.
16's
Okay,
pretty
so
good.
something.
Plus.
For what?
Okay, so you've heard legends of, and by legends I mean like not real history, like mythology.
Tales.
Yeah. Like ancient stories of like magical boxes that contained secrets of the gods that could only be opened if you knew the right words to open them.
T.
T.
I
Enter.
don't know the words.
So you're like holding this up and you see these weird runes, like these weird
Grooves.
letters that you don't know. It'd be like if it was like blank on every side, and then on one side it has like these letters across, but they don't look like letters in any language you've ever seen.
Can I
Wait,
tap
wait.
her on the shoulder and like scare her?
So that happens. You're like, oh, and like you see the cat lady right behind you. You have no idea how long she's been there.
Now can
And
I ask
Lori's
her for
behind her.
help?
Yeah, sure.
Ask me help.
Okay.
So she's holding this gray metal box.
And I see the letters on there,
right?
right?
You see,
Okay.
she points it out to you, and she also does this, you can hear that there's something in there.
Okay. So,
But there's no hinges, there's no
Can I-
keyhole or
You know
anything.
what I want to do?
I
Bill, is there any way I could roll?
No.
No,
You're not
that I
in-
can
you're
tell
not
that they're
there.
in here.
You're like playing music
I want
and
to.
jamming
I
out.
want to like
This is
message them
your
and like
fault.
mess with their heads. Be like,
Nope.
"Ah, we got it."
Meta. Go. You're in the wagon.
just roll for Arcana.
So she tells. Do you tell her what you
Nine.
what you knew?
Wait.
What you seem to remember about those
12.
those like legends? Do you tell her?
Yeah.
Okay, tell her.
There are legends that there's a box, and it can only be opened by the right word.
Okay.
And what do the
Words.
boxes contain? Remember?
Power
Secrets
secrets.
of the
gods.
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 Bill, I'm gonna sneakily come up to that carriage that they're in.
Okay, try.
7.
You're walking up and like one of the guards is like, "Hey, do you know where the cat lady went? I was gonna ask her if she could scout ahead."
Actually, I think she's scouting already.
Oh, roll deception.
Oh, I'm good at that. 12.
He's like, okay, and he like walks away. All right. So back to you. You're inside the wagon. You're looking at this box.
Okay.
You see the runes, the letters.
Yeah. So
They don't look like they're anything that
rolled
you recognize.
I got.
would I recognize if
12.
they were arcane symbols?
I'm gonna let you roll a history check with advantage.
God, I suck at history. Oh, with advantage?
Huh? So take the higher of the two.
21.
Okay, so here's the
29.
thing. You don't know what these runes are, but you do recognize a few of them. They kind of remind you of some of the symbols and runes that you saw on the magic carpet.
This is a
Did
ruse.
you
and
just
I don't
compare
like
me
this.
to Aladdin?
No, dude, remember the rug?
Oh, no!
Yeah.
I immediately tell her to drop the box and run. No.
I'm just saying that you see not all of them, but
No.
a couple of them look similar to
Well, that
some
means
of
it's-
the
Can I
the
draw
runes.
them out?
That means it's force.
Yes.
Oh.
That means it's force things. Force.
There are
magic.
4 runes. You recognize 2 of them.
Okay.
That's all. That's all I'm going to tell you. You recognize the last 2. So you like draw them out. Okay. Now what do you do with the box? Make a perception check.
Oh, that was actually not that good.
12.
You hear somebody coming up towards the wagon. There's 2 ways out of this wagon, the front or the back. Whoever's coming up from is coming up from the back.
And then we got the front.
Sneak attack. Wait.
Okay, roll sneak.
What? Wait. What? What were you gonna say?
Nothing.
Yes,
You
you
hear
were.
somebody coming up towards the wagon.
Okay. Well,
Towards
I'm
the
gonna
back.
burst his speed out of there. She
Okay.
can figure it
Are
out.
you being stealthy or just hauling ass?
Both.
Go.
Both.
I know it is. I'm gonna try to sneak attack you.
Okay, you succeed. Are you gonna try to sneak?
Yeah.
Roll stealth.
15.
Hey, wow, look at that. Oh, roll 2 dice. Okay, so you're like, she's like a cat. You're out, and you're like, do 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 do, and you're trying to be stealthy. And a guard's like, hey, what are you doing in the princess's wagon?
I smelled something.
That's pretty good. Roll deception. So that plus your
12.
so 12
16.
plus 4, 16. So he's like, smelled something? Like what? Fire? What? What is it? Is it something we should be worried about?
Yeah, fire. 'Cause I was
He's
just
like,
checking it.
he like goes to look in there and he like looks around and he's like, I don't. He's like, I don't see anything. He's like, you must have
I have
some.
really good smell.
Yeah. He seems to believe you. He's like, well, I'm just glad that there's nothing wrong. And
Yeah,
then
me
he like
too.
looks at you. So you walk away. So you were like
Best of
outside.
the best, Bill.
And you tried to, do the walk up, and the guard like asked you about where she was, and then you were just like, doo, 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 and you walked away. But then you like looked back, and you saw her like bolt out like a cat, and like 5 seconds later, you saw armor tank lady try to get out, and some guard like walk up from around the corner, and you're like, oh god. But seemingly everything's okay. So you walk out. You kind of walk back towards the front wagon where all the commoners are.
I'm gonna invisibly send Jaquan to go to Alore and then go on Alore's shoulder and surprise her.
Okay. Jaquan appears in front of you.
I cartwheeled and then draw my
acrobatics.
rapier out and like hold it to his throat
Roll
on
acrobatics.
accident.
Jaquan's a
Wait.
fast dude. I have faith in
16.
Jaquan flies in a circle.
Okay, well I wasn't gonna hurt him.
No, I know, but you're like, where did he go?
Okay.
And then you feel a little like up against your butt. And you
I
turn
whack
around.
him with my tail.
Oh, good. See?
Like two can play at that game, Jaquan.
So you're kind of like darting in and out, kind of having like a.
Oh my
a-
god, this
a
is better
slap
than
fight.
a ball of yarn.
Yeah. So you're having like a slap fight with a little dragon.
Does he see this?
Yeah.
I know I can see through Jaquan's eyes.
All right. So you.
I didn't do that. He said Jaquan
You
did that.
walk. You guys are all back together.
on secret
Tony,
control.
you finish up as you're playing, and like every like the princess is like, that was so nice.
And I'm like, oh, please don't
And
applause. I was
once
just
she applauds, like
practicing.
everybody applauds, including the shield maidens. Like they all of the people. Like once she starts clapping, everybody's
Even
like,
your-
yes,
Stop.
well
Even
done.
your
Stop.
girl.
Stop.
Even your girl.
No one
So
cares.
she-
Can I roll another perception check on her?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no one cares about her.
I do.
Dude. Come on.
All right. They basically escort her back to the wagon.
Bye.
Cool. Oh, can I take that?
Let's get on the road.
Yeah, let's get on the road.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. You sketched out the things that you saw.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna immediately go and talk to.
So you
My
guys get back
crew.
on the road. You're traveling, and like the four of you kind of like linger up together while you guys are walking,
And
right?
be like,
And the wagons are going along. They don't remember that they don't know what you guys found, so you have to like tell them in
Okay,
character.
we found a box and it's got. Show me. stuff
Oh,
on it.
what kind of box? Be more
A metal
descriptive.
box, and according to legend, it could contain power
More
of
runs
gods.
recognized.
So
Four runes
mantra
we-
tells you this,
I
you
recognize
guys.
2 of them.
That
Oh, very nice.
did you hear what she said?
Yeah.
So, and as you guys are talking about this, she shows you the
There's
symbols. That there were 4 symbols or runes, and you recognize the 2 on the end from the rug.
Can I roll insight?
Beecher, you particularly recognize them, as the rug has always been your arch nemesis. You recognize them as being, if you were at the top of the stairs, remember the stairs, and then
Yeah.
the rug, the symbol to the farthest, and then the symbol to the right. Those 2 symbols.
So like the corners?
The 2 right corners.
But in this order, it's right and then top.
Okay,
Should we
I'm
roll
gonna.
insight on
Can I roll Arcana to see if
Yes.
it's similar? Which you said is similar to the runes on the door,
Yes.
which are force.
Yes.
So I'm gonna do check it out.
Can I do Arcana?
You're like, I'm so
Can I
frustrated.
do, can I do
Why am
Arcana?
I
Can I-
going like
can I
Tony,
roll
you can do
Arcana?
anything
Below.
because you're a bard. You have,
Can I roll Arcana?
Oh!
yes.
What?
All of you could roll Arcana if you'd like.
Ridiculous.
Even Beth. Because now, wow, look at that.
Thank
Coming in
God.
through the clutch.
Awesome.
So
I'm supposed to be the magic guy, and
you are the magic guy, but you're so, you know what it is? You're so intimidated by the traumatic memory of the rug tormenting you
It's just like,
that you've like blocked it out.
Oh,
like
I
it's,
murdered that rug.
it's
I will
intimidating your
murder
cold
it.
logical abilities.
I'm going to destroy the rug.
You do feel like if you got to a proper library, you could maybe do some more research on
You're a
this.
nerd.
However, you
nerd.
you recognize these things because you saw them on a rug in the palace.
Who's trying to figure out
Is that-
Do you want to tell them that?
Sure.
But you're getting
So hey, you guys. So you notice Mantra like look at those again, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I do recognize that. Those were on a rug in the palace."
What?
Wait.
Oh, whose silly investigation is silly now, Beecher?
You still
she-
have no leads. I don't know what kind of.
What do you mean? That's a lead, dude.
She-
The
I
rug
I have
that
a
kicks your
question.
ass
I'm gonna
is
say
in
it
the
very
Emperor's
politely
palace.
because they're
dog.
annoying and we're girls, so we tell each other everything.
Okay.
Why were you in the palace?
She told you
Yeah.
this already. She was
Yeah,
she
I
and
was
Rayloff.
Okay, no,
hired by-
I
I
don't feel bad
I
at all.
re-
Bill, I turned it.
I retract my question and
Hold
I ask a
on.
new one.
Too much talk over. Let them go.
Sorry.
Take turns. Go.
I have some silly
Where in
things.
the palace did you see it?
It was in the laboratory where the Archmage was investigating it.
So they let you in the lab?
Yeah. They brought you and Rayloff into the laboratory.
Yeah.
You seem like very
They
shocked
wouldn't
that
let
this
us
would
in
be
there.
No, I got
that
it.
you'd be suspicious about that. Like
They
it
didn't
seems
bring
totally
us in
normal
there.
for you to be there. Okay, you were saying.
Rayloff has special
Oh,
powers,
yeah.
but
I turned to Olin and I go, "Hey, what if they got a whole army of those rugs?" And I just point to him and I laugh. That's it.
and then I'm gonna say you have no lead, and I'm gonna do that in a really intimidating.
And I go,
fashion.
"Loser says what?" Can I roll to see if he says what?
10.
Bill, can I roll to see if he says what to my loser says
Oh
what?
my God! Please roll higher than a 4 next time. Jesus Christ! Oh, he rolled a 4.
As
too.
you guys are bantering about this,
We're gossiping over
remember
this.
that you're back on the road. Okay.
Oh, okay, right.
You see, as you're going through this like hilly area now, where there's like a lot of rocky kind of like hills and stuff, you kind of come up and down. You come around a bend, and it descends from the hill that you're on into a valley, and in the distance you see mountains, and built into the mountains you see a city with a huge wall, like a 30-foot tall wall. Was that your spine that just cracked like that, dude? That probably. All right. So do you hear me?
Roll flexibility.
Oh my god.
You come down a hill,
Sorry.
and you see a valley unfold before you. And this is not a very lush green, you know, the whole rest of the continent is kind of like,
Beautiful.
yes, it's like lush Mediterranean
gross.
green. This is like desertish and kind of rocky, almost like Nevada or like,
Can I roll
yes, like
perception?
southern Utah, red rocks.
I love Red.
Okay, so it's kind of, it's a very sharp contrast to the rest of Kabul Kailish, the rest of the countryside that you guys have been traveling through and that you know.
It's like Ireland versus Nevada.
Yeah, but not colder and warmer. The temperature is still about the
It's
same,
just
but
like
like
the
the
way it
land
looks.
Can I
literally
roll
is different.
perception to like all of our surroundings?
Yes. And that would be actually nature. I'll let you
Can I
guys
roll
make a nature
nature?
I'm
check
gonna
if
make
you
a
want.
nature check as well. 11. Nice. Worse. Oh, what? 17?
I want different dice.
You
Oh,
should
my
use your
nature's
Dairy
high.
Con dice.
8.
I left him at my house.
Rip.
Wait,
Here,
hold
do you
on.
wanna
I want a
Six
different
nature.
dice. I want the
Plus
dice that
3.
you stole from me.
Bill, I got a 20.
Okay. You clearly, like this does not seem to be a natural occurrence. There's no climate or nature-oriented reason why you would go from the land that you were in, come out of a hilly, rocky area and down into this valley. And why would this valley be almost such an abrupt kind of like desert terrain with just scrub? There's like scrub brush, here and there,
So there's
Bill.
like nothing like.
but like
fading
red rocks,
into it.
boulders. It's not like a gradual transition.
It's just like bam.
Yeah.
So
and
with my
in the distance, you see Kadimki Gala. You see the mountains and the city built into the mountains with a huge wall. You see the keep.
Bill, with my 20, am I able to figure out if that's real? Like if that's Kim Kikala
Oh, it's
or
real.
an illusion? Okay.
It's
I
real.
just want to make sure I'm not being like
But it's just
by the
a stark
Archbishop.
contrast as you emerge from these hills to see this landscape that's just so different.
Yeah.
You feel like this is not like a new thing, but at the same time it leaves you feeling a little bit curious as to why this valley and those mountains are so barren, so much more like a desert than they are like the lush Mediterranean,
Yeah.
greenery that you guys have been accustomed to.
Could I do history?
Yes.
19.
Damn.
So you, interestingly enough, you know this, you recall this, that Kadimki Kla was actually, it's a city built on a city. So it's a city with a fortified keep, like a walled city, and the monastery. And that was actually built on a much older city that's like thousands of years old, like before Kabul Kailish. Like there was some other civilization that was here that had a city built into the mountains. Whatever happened to that civilization, it died out, whatever, abandoned city, and Kabul Kailish, like the theocracy, eventually like found this place and built a city over the old city. You share that history with everybody? Mantra shares this history
That
with
was
you.
really
And actually, Tony, now that you're thinking about it, you're like, yeah, that kind of seems like familiar. Like, I kind of remember hearing about this city in the mountains. Like,
Is this triggering any thing for my void senses? Is Kadim Kikala like making me feel a certain type of way?
you haven't heard from anyone. Let's put it that way.
Alright.
But when you emerged to see this, for some reason, while it doesn't make sense from a natural perspective, it makes a whole lot of sense to you.
Okay.
There's something up with him. We'll figure it out later. I don't
It's
tell
too
her. That's a
meta.
little meta.
It's too meta.
That's a little meta.
So,
That's information that she doesn't know, but that was from like earlier episodes. Just want to throw that in.
so you guys continue on.
Yes.
The wagon train makes its way down the hills slowly and descends, and now you're kind of at the floor of the valley, going through big red rocks, orange rocks, boulders, a lot of like yellow, red, orange kind of colors all dot the landscape. Occasionally you get some scrub brush, but it's kind of like brown or, this is scrub brush. It's the feeling of the scrub brush. So, but basically like tumbleweeds, like that kind of stuff, right? And you travel for a few hours, and as you travel along, you get closer and closer, and you get closer to the city, and as you get closer, you realize just how massive that wall is. Like, so first you'd have to descend up into the mountains, and there's only like 2 roads that go up to Kadimkigala. And then you descend up the mountains, and there's this 30-foot tall wall that goes all the way around the city, and it's massive. So you kind of keep going, you get up to this main road, and you notice that atop the wall now, as you get closer, you see there are guards and like archers and stuff. And you see a gate open up, and you're still like a couple hundred yards away. But this is a big wall, big gate. Gate opens up, a rider rides out towards you guys, bearing the symbol of Kabul Kailish, the royal symbol. He rides out, and as he approaches, he stops, and the captain is like, he's like, "Greetings, we have come with the Princess Sharisa. You received word?" And he's like, "Yes, my lord, we welcome you. We have all the arrangements have been made. You will be guests at the monastery. The abbot is ready to see the princess as soon as you arrive. Let us help you. Come in, follow me." So you guys follow this guard. You get to the gates. You guys go through the gates. There's even more guards, soldiers, like kind of the same looking soldiers as the ones in the capital city. You know, they all have the same kind of armor with the symbol of Kabul Kailish on them, shields that bear the symbol of Kabul Kailish. You guys go through this city, and it's not as big as the capital city, but it's still a pretty good sized city, like bigger than any of the other villages that you guys have been to. You travel through it for a while, people make way, and you get to another wall, and this wall is like 20 feet tall, and you could see beyond this wall that there's like a big castle, like a keep, right? And there's like 4 towers, and there's like a big complex and buildings and stuff. You go through that, they open that, and you guys go into the keep. A man greets you, and he's introduces himself. He's like, "I am the steward of the keep of Kadimkigala. Welcome. We will immediately ensure that the princess and her shield maidens are taken to the monastery. You all may come into the keep. We have quarters prepared for you. Baths are being drawn, and you may rest."
And my pig may stay at the stable.
Yes, of course. We've not a problem.
Is there a priest or someone I can go talk to?
At the monastery? Well, of course, there are many. The monastery, he points to the monastery. It's further in and up the hill.
Okay.
So you guys see it from where you are. Like, you're inside the keep, and even though those walls are 20 feet tall, like, he points, and it's like further up the mountain, and you see this old, it looks like a castle, but it's not a castle. But you kind of see this old castle like built into the mountains, into the rocks. Like the walls almost grow out of the rocks.
I think I'll tag along.
I'm gonna go ask.
He's like, "Are you sure you don't want to unpack in the barracks?"
Oh, I'm unpacking first, but
Oh yeah,
I'm
then
gonna
I
go
was gonna tag
sleep.
along with Olin to the monastery.
Sure.
Wait, yeah.
Yeah, positive.
What time is it then?
How?
So it's like late
I'm not
afternoon.
scheming on you.
You
dude.
guys have
Yeah, I'm gonna go take a
Sort
nap.
of
I know
right.
what
It's
the
still
secret
light
is,
out.
It eats me alive.
Does your highness have a telephone? Can I call him up and be like, "Stop
Oh,
up."
no. There's magical ways to do that, but you don't have that magic, Shorty.
I'm gonna ask the guy if he was like, because I know this is a city on top of a city. Is there access to the lower city?
He's like, well, it's not really like there's no city, like
What
lower
is it?
city. It was just ruins. Like,
Like it was.
he's like,
does it
"Are you
go on
asking the
top of
steward?"
it?
Yeah.
Oh, he's like, no, my lord, there is no lower city. It was when Kadimkigala, the modern city, was built, there was nothing but ruins, like ruins and foundations
Yeah.
from buildings. There was no actual city.
Is there? I was so interested in it. Is there a way you can go down and check it out?
Some buildings, have their cellars that are built into what might have been foundations.
Yeah.
I've heard that some of the older buildings in town, the stone buildings in town, some of them built right on top of the foundations. But I am no historian per se.
Yeah.
I deal mostly with matters of state and diplomatic issues.
Thank you.
But you're welcome in the city. Feel free to unpack your things, and we will, of course, be welcoming you in about an hour, give or take, around sundown. We will have a feast in honor of the arrival of the princess and the arrival of your party. So,
Okay.
yes. So he gestures to the barracks building, and you guys see that there are, these little, almost like stalls, basically, to give you privacy. Like, you don't have like a room, but you've got like kind of a dresser and, a curtain and stuff like that. And there's comfortable beds. It looks like basically the same kind of barracks that the soldiers would stay in, but this is like for guests. So you guys each kind of unpack your stuff. There are baths, so you bathe privately, all that kind of stuff. So what do you do until the feast?
I want to go check out that place that looks like a castle. That is, or like
The
thing that's in
monastery?
Yeah, the thing. What's in the wall? Like you said, like it's stone. Looks like it's.
So the stone walls of the monastery are basically, it goes from like the mountain, like
Yeah,
the rocks
I
of the
wanna go.
mountain, and it looks like they just built up from there.
I want to go check that out.
I wanna go
So
check out
that's-
the
Oh, actually,
monastery.
I would like to go warn. I'm sure the captain's gonna do it, but I also kind of want to go warn somebody about the zombies, and see what their thoughts are on them.
Okay.
I want to go to the monastery.
All right.
Is there some sort of
I'm
Capitol
kinda
building that I
top
could
of the
go
roof.
to attempt to do this?
Okay, so
That's
here's
okay.
how we're gonna split this up. You guys are gonna go last because you're going to the monastery together. You're gonna go inform the steward and the captain of the guard of Kadimki,
Okay.
and you basically summarize this, and he's like, "This is very disturbing." He's like, and you suspect that these undead were
Affecting
from
the
the
princess.
small village.
Yeah,
that was
we're what's the odd part about it, sir, is that we arrived at the village. We had made reservations there, so it wasn't a long abandoned
Yes,
place.
of course. I know this village. It's
Yeah.
an outpost.
We
for
arrived
resupplying.
there. It was completely destroyed and in ruin. No living creature would touch anywhere around it.
He seems like absolutely shocked.
And then, so we assume, and all there were no bodies. All there was bloodstains. So we had made the assumption that they were the zombies that had attacked us. However, after talking to Mantra, she claims that army comes actually from a cemetery that looked very, very ancient and forgotten about within the woods nearby the village.
Did you investigate this cemetery?
We did not find it. Mantra found it.
Ah. Well, we'll need to send an expeditionary force out. Of course, not tonight. That would be dangerous. But perhaps tomorrow in the morning. I will speak to the other captains, and we'll look into this. Thank you for sharing
And
this
if you would
information.
like any help,
Yes, of
We're
course.
available.
If you were up to it, we may ask you and your party, since you know the circumstances, to join us. But we would not
Ask
force
me
you
to
to do
speak
this.
to my
This would
party.
be purely voluntary. Thank you. Okay,
course.
you climb up to the top of the keep.
Yep. No, just like where's the tallest roof?
Oh, that would be where they're going. So you walk
Oh.
up through the town, through the winding streets of the town, and you get to the monastery, the
Mm-hmm.
road up to the monastery, and it's not even a road, it's stairs, and they go forever, like in a comical movie, like ridiculous, like 800 stairs to get to the top of the monastery.
Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, call it like Kung Fu Panda. And you guys finally get to the top. And you notice that there's walls, but the gate is not like anything fancy. Like you could see through it. It's just a wrought iron, like metal gate. And you see there's a monk there. He's like wearing simple orange robes. And he's like, "Greetings."
Hello. This is Headshave.
Hi. Are we able to
Yeah.
enter?
Yes, of course.
Can I go to your roof?
Certainly.
Thanks.
So you guys go in, and you see it's a very interesting layout. The interior, once you pass through the walls, there's no, like the monastery is really a very small building. It's like a one-story building with a domed roof, and it's at the center of this, imagine like a square, right? So the interior of the monastery is like a square where there's a wall, kind of like this, okay? So imagine this, right? Like these are the walls. So if I'm down the hill, I'm like, hey, look up there. Here's the walls, here's another wall, and then this is like the rest of the mountain going up to the top.
That's so dope.
And the monastery is in this space, right? So there's a little one-story building with like a domed top, and then the rest of the interior of the monastery is divided up into 4 equal parts. And you could see, like right when you walk in, not like rooms, there aren't even walls, but you could distinctly see the different parts, right? So like when you walk in, to the left you see like these fields of like dirt and like almost like planters beds, right? And there's like earth and there's like plants growing out of them and stuff like that. And then over here you see these cool like water gardens. There's like fountains and like water gardens and stuff with like weeping willow trees to give shade and stuff, and you see like koi pond and stuff. And then you're kind of walking around, and over here you feel like a cool breeze, and you see that like there's an opening between the wall and the mountain, and there's like a natural kind of breeze blowing through that space. And hanging from the trees are all of these cool like chimes. Some of them are made from like bamboo, like wood, and some of them are made from metal. And it's like a garden of sound and like cool breeze and wind. And then over here there are multiple different like spaces where there's like different things related to fire. And you sense that all 4 of the elements are equally represented. Like there's this agricultural like earth farm area, and there's the water gardens here, and there's like kind of the air and wind stuff, and then there's braziers of oil burning and like kind of complex like arrangements of candles in different like cool symbols, like swirling outwards, like candles and rings, and you can almost like a maze with little lanterns and candles and braziers of fire. And then in the middle of all 4 of those things is this 1-story building. And you see the 2 shield maidens standing outside of the door of that building. And you notice there are a few other monks like tending to each of these areas, right? Not more than maybe 20 monks total.
I'm gonna go up to one of the monks.
In which area? Earth, wind, fire, or water?
I'll go to Earth.
Okay. There's a monk like tending to some plants, and he just has like a content smile. He's like smelling these herbs.
What kind of monk is he? What race is he?
He's human. Not all of them are human, but
Yeah.
this one happens to be human.
Hello, brother.
He's like, oh, greetings. He's like,
What's up, dude?
Greetings.
may Ayuk bless you.
Brother man.
Where can I privately pray to our God?
You are amongst the gods here in all space and throughout time.
I
Yeah.
understand.
You a stoner.
Sometimes I feel
Walk the path. You will see the
Oh
evidence
God.
of the gods and goddesses here. They are with us.
I
This
see.
is a holy and sacred place.
I see.
He's like, are you hungry?
No.
He reaches over and he pulls a berry off of a small bush. He's like, please take, brother.
Thank you.
This is
About
a
a trip.
this is a blessing from Ayuk.
Thank you.
You take a bite. You feel like you eat this grape and you're like full. You feel like you've had like a healthy meal. You feel great. You feel like you had like a super smoothie with like kale and vitamins in it. Like you're just like, wow, I'm energized. You feel like you're rested. You feel sustained. You feel healthy.
Sustenance.
You're not tired anymore.
I'm gonna ask
You're
him one
there.
more time. I love that we can all pray together in this space, but is there anywhere I can go?
Do you wish to venerate one of the gods or goddesses in particular? You may choose to do so amongst any of the spaces, or if you so desire, you may pay a visit to the monastery. I believe the abbot is ministering to the Princess Teresa right now, but you may. This is open space. The gods do not judge. You may do as you wish.
Thank you. And then I'm gonna slowly just walk around.
All right, you
Should
walk
roll
around.
Perception, see if he's hitting on you.
What
No.
kind of roof is it? Are there windows?
It's
Is
a
it all
domed
glass?
roof.
Oh.
Is
So like
You-
I can't see
You
it.
don't even need to make a roll. You're like, this is a joke. You like jump up and pull yourself up.
Yeah, but can I see
It's like the
through?
size-
Yeah, is it
Yeah.
glass?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I see what happened with Beecher, and I just kind of up there like laughing to myself.
So you look in through the window, and you see the inside of this building is very similar to what you experienced outside in the gardens. There's like a corner of the building where there's like a fountain, and another corner where there's like a pit full of sand, clean white sand, and then another corner where you see like there's like windows that are open from two ends of the building, and there's like a cross breeze, and there's like little paper what do you call those things, like mobiles, you know what I mean, like little paper things that are
Fans.
like in shapes, and the wind kind of blows them around in cool patterns. And then in another corner you see like a thing with like a bunch of candles. You see all four of the elements represented equally.
So like, where the wind is, and you said there's like a crack. Like is
There's
it-
two windows open. You like walk right in and look, you can see. And you see an older looking, probably, if you had to say, like, it's hard to judge age, but you would say that this dragonborn that you see is probably as old as His Holiness Korpai Gambar. He's like a very old looking dragonborn. And he's wearing the same like simple golden cloak as all the other monks. But you see him like sitting like crisscross applesauce, like on a pillow on the floor in the center of the room. And across from him is the princess. And she's also sitting there, and they're like having a conversation. They're like, and he's like, yes. And there are a couple other monks kind of like in the room, but that's it. They're just like sitting in the monastery having a conversation. There's no doors. Like there's an entrance, like an arched doorway, but there's no door. Like you can walk in.
I'm gonna go back to my quarters.
Okay.
So
As
then-
you're leaving, you hear a voice. It sounds like Jaquan's voice, but it also has a strange presence and an echo. You're not sure if you actually hear it, like through your ears, or if you hear it in your mind.
What does it say?
Tripping.
It's from the.
We'll find out what that voice says on the next episode of D&D with high school students.
I hate you, Bill.
You suck.
Oh.
No, only if you know what I'm planning to do.